Today's video is brought to you by me getting triggered. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, welcome to the family. My name is Dina. I am so happy to have you guys here. I needed to make this video last night, but this morning was the earliest I could get to it. Guys, I need to talk to you about something. I need to rant. So in this video, I want to first share with you why I was triggered, what event caused me to feel this way, why I'm feeling very irritated right now. I want to dive deep into that trigger too. And I also want to talk about some common misconceptions about tarot, and maybe we'll dive a little bit into misconceptions also about witchcraft as well, because I feel like they all intertwine together and it's something that a lot of us deal with. And whether this is something that you personally deal with because you also practice tarot, or you also are a practicing witch, or maybe you just clicked on this video because you know nothing about it and you want to learn more, then that is cool too. So yesterday at work, basically the topic came up of my YouTube channel, and there were a couple of clients there from the studio and one of the teachers, and one of the clients had asked me what my YouTube channel was about, and I could have given them a better description. Honestly, yesterday I was feeling very burnt out. I've been feeling burnt out all week. Yeah, I was just so tired. I didn't really want to be there, honestly. I came to my neck the other day, so I just wasn't in a great mood, to be completely honest. So I told them, I'm like, oh, it's like spirituality and witchcraft. I didn't really give them much more than that. I could have told them, you know, how I use that to, you know, improve my mental health, and I talk about, you know, self-care and all that stuff, which I usually do, but I just honestly left it at that. So yeah, I'm like, it's spirituality and witchcraft. And then one of the teachers that was there, she's like, yeah, Dina's like into tarot cards, and the girl was like, ooh, spooky. And I literally just laughed and left it at that. And normally I would go into education mode, you know, like teaching people that tarot isn't scary. It's not. My practice isn't spooky, and it's something that's very important to me, and it's helped me get through so many bouts of depression, and it's such an amazing and helpful practice if you use it the right way. And I just I really wanted to, but I was so tired. Like, I literally just didn't have the energy in me to even give a crap. But obviously I did, because I went home and I was like, damn it, I should have said something, and it's been bugging me this morning. I'm like, I should have cleared this up. And that gets me into, you know, diving deep into this trigger, because I want to be clear that I am not angry with this client. I'm not angry with anyone who thinks tarot is spooky or evil, because it all comes from a place of ignorance. And I don't mean ignorance in a bad way, like you're ignorant. I mean in a way that they haven't been exposed to other perspectives of what tarot is. Most people, the majority of the population, have not been exposed to tarot in other ways other than what Hollywood has portrayed tarot and witchcraft and witches to be, which is creepy and evil. Usually there's a fortune teller, and she's got her hair wrapped, and she's got all this jewelry, and she's all a little bit wacky personality or spooky, and she's picking a card, and you're like, oh no, like what if I find out I'm gonna die? And usually it's foreseeing or foretelling something that's really bad that's gonna happen. And that's not what tarot is. But that's what people think it is, because that's what they've been exposed to their entire life. And I have no right to be angry at this person, because I literally thought the same thing when I was younger, before I had a clear idea of tarot. You know, I didn't grow up in a family where my grandmother pulled cards, so I knew exactly what tarot was from the get-go. Like, that's not my life. That wasn't my path. I found tarot later on in adulthood. So I don't have any right to be angry. I think I have some right to be triggered by the fact that society continues to portray something that is so important to so many, and to portray someone's spirituality in a way that it's like some sort of game or some sort of spooky entertainment or something like that. I think I have every right to feel that trigger, but I need to understand that there's a deeper place of where this trigger is coming from, and I also want to talk to you guys about that. Yes, I was triggered, but I also allowed myself to become triggered, and part of that comes from the fact that I am still scared about what other people think. I want to be a tarot reader so bad, but one of the things that has been holding me back is the fear of what other people will think, because there's so many people in my life that don't understand it. Most of my family doesn't understand it. I still have the fear of like, oh, what will an extended family think if I start a tarot reading business? No one in my family has done this before. No one in my family is interested in an occult like I am. Everyone has really normal jobs. They're teachers, they are physiotherapists, they're working in, you know, office buildings and construction, all this stuff. Like everyone I know in my family has normal jobs, and there's so much fear for me to go into something that no one in my family's done before. So yeah, of course I'm triggered. I'm triggered when people say things that's not true about my spirituality, that's not true about my interests, because I'm like, that's what you think of me? That's what you think of what I do? And there's a fear there that like, oh, if that's what people think, then maybe I should be keeping this quiet. Maybe I should just keep this to myself because no one will ever understand it. I think something that we all have to kind of understand and consider as tarot readers, as people of the occult, as witches, as practitioners, as healers, even if you're like into Reiki healing, there's a lot of stigma around that too. Anyone in the spiritual community has to understand that part of the burden, or maybe it's a gift, it depends on which way you look at it honestly, requires us to educate. I think that it just comes together along with it, you know what I mean? Because it's not the majority that understands what we do. It's a very small population of people, and the rest of people think, you know, that it's evil or woo-woo or crazy. And I think we just have to understand that it just kind of comes along with the journey, that while we are practicing running businesses in this, we have to also understand that we're going to have to educate. We're going to have to break the stigma. And unfortunately, it's a tricky path. It's not an easy path because it wasn't paved for us by society. Society has put up walls to make it difficult for people like us to do the things that we enjoy. But at the same time, even though there is a little bit of that burden of having to educate people, I think it's okay to not feel like you need to educate people all the time. And you know, part of the reason I started my YouTube channel is to educate people and bring awareness and understanding around, you know, the spirituality and witchcraft topics. And when I'm on camera, when I'm making these videos, I'm in teacher mode. I am teaching you guys about my practice, about, you know, things that I've learned, my research, all that stuff. But you know, I can't always be on either. On days like yesterday where I was just so exhausted and burnt out, I just didn't have it in me to correct anything. I didn't have it in me to educate. However, I just have to understand that if I don't, I need to accept the fact that that is their perspective based on the information that they had. And there's really nothing I can be mad about because I didn't step up. But at the same time, I also have to understand that even if I did step up, even if I did educate, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to change their perspective, that they have to change their opinion on tarot or witchcraft, because I mean, that is their opinion. Maybe they would. Maybe giving them a new perspective would allow them to, you know, see tarot in a new light. However, educating them, all that does is give them a new perspective to consider, because the only perspective that they've been exposed to is the perspective of Hollywood, is the perspective of the witch or the tarot reader, the fortune teller being spooky. That's the only perspective that they've had so far in their life. So by giving them my opinion and my experience, I'm giving them a new perspective to work with, to consider, but they don't have to necessarily believe what I believe either. So that was my triggering event, and it definitely bleeds into, you know, my witchcraft practice too, and it bothers me, but I try to be understanding when, you know, my practice gets called woo-woo. So many regular people work with intention without realizing it, or do superstitious practices without realizing it. Like one I see all the time, and my family always does, is if they say something and they're worried something's gonna happen, they will knock on wood. Like they find wood and they say knock on wood to avoid it or undo it or like remove a jinx or something like that. And it's become so mainstream in our culture, but like that is literally witchcraft. Just as making a wish on birthday candles is witchcraft. There's so many practices that are so deeply ingrained into our society that people are just so used to that they don't think of them as those things, but it literally is witchcraft. So I think that's one of the reasons why I get so frustrated when people don't understand my practice or my beliefs, because I'm like, is it really that much different than what you guys are already doing? And in a lot of ways, spirituality, New Age spirituality, witchcraft is very similar to a lot of aspects of religion. And I understand there's also like stigma that comes with religion too, and a lot of people get misunderstood in this world. There's a lot of people that are religious that are really amazing, great people, and they don't push it on other people, and they're not judgmental of other religions or spiritual beliefs. There's a lot of really open-minded people, but a lot of religion does get picked on because of the few people in the bunch that do, make it look bad. But I mean, there's always those kinds of people in any sort of practice. And I think that's another problem with the tarot and witchcraft community, is there's so many scammers out there too, right? Like we get so many fake tarot readers on Instagram DMing people trying to rip them off and take their money. So those scammers, those bad people, are literally making tarot and the occult look bad for the rest of us that do take it seriously. So I think that's another thing to keep in mind as well. I think we just all need to be a little bit more open-minded and considerate of other people's beliefs, and not being quick to judge or make statements about it without fully understanding it more. And that kind of brings me into, what is tarot? And of course, tarot is going to mean different things for different people. Everyone's going to have a different relationship with tarot. But for me, like, tarot is deeper insight into your unconscious. It's an intuitive practice that allows you to connect to parts of yourself that you maybe are unable to connect to in your waking, conscious, everyday life. It's a connection to your higher self. It's a connection to spirit or the universe or your guides or angels or whatever you believe. The art and the cards are symbolic of various common themes that we experience in our life, and everyone's going to interpret them differently. But tarot isn't evil. Tarot isn't spooky. Tarot can be predictive if you want it to be predictive. You can use it that way, but also, with that being said, predictions with tarot only go so far. Tarot's not going to tell you you're going to die tomorrow like many people believe it does. Tarot may give you some sort of prediction, but it only goes to, first of all, a certain extent of time, because it's going to be very short term. Because every single action, every single decision that you make, or anyone around you in your circle, or like anywhere in the world, affects you. Everything in life is a domino effect. So every single choice, every single action, every single change of opinion changes the course of life. It's called free will. And tarot doesn't impede on free will. Maybe there's some things in life that are a little bit affected by destiny, if you believe in that. Some people do believe in destiny. I, however, do believe that your life course can change depending on your choices. We all have choices. And therefore, what you see in a tarot reading isn't set in stone. Anything can be changed depending on your choice. All tarot does is give you the short-term prediction of what may come based on the current energies that are surrounding you. If tarot ever gives you something that you're not happy with, you can change it. You just have to change your choices. For example, if tarot says that you are going down a really bad path of self-destruction, of, financial loss, blah, 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 blah. If you see this, instead of panicking and be like, oh, my life is ruined, the tarot has predicted the most awful thing ever. Instead of looking at it that way, maybe look at your habits. Maybe you realize that you're an alcoholic. Maybe you realize that you're abusing other things in your life. Maybe you are not being responsible with your finances. Tarot is literally just giving you a wake-up call to change something that is toxic in your life. Tarot is literally just giving you the opportunity to better yourself by reflecting back at you what you are currently doing, how you are currently living in your life. Tarot is just purely a reflection of yourself so that you can see it a little bit clearer. And most of the time, if you go for a tarot reading from somebody who's legit, they will read the cards in a way that helps you, in a way that empowers you to make your life better. They will not read from a place of fear that oh no, like if you don't, get this energy cleared, your life is gonna be ruined and you better spend $15,000 so I can remove this curse for you. If anyone ever does something like that along those lines, then they are trying to rip you off, they are trying to scam you. No reputable tarot reader or psychic will ever do that to you. Every single tarot reader that I have ever met reads from a place of empowerment, reads from a place of love. And that is what tarot is to me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Please comment below, keep the conversation going. I think it's something that we all kind of have to, stick together with and discuss, because it's something that we all experienced on some level as tarot readers, as people in the spiritual community. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to share that with you. I had to do a little bit of a rant, but I also had to do a little bit of a reflection. And honestly, I think talking through it has actually made me feel a lot better. And I had to, because I woke up and I was like, I'm so angry and frustrated and I can't get this out of my head until I talk through it. So thank you so much for listening. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you do give it a thumbs up. Let me know that you like this type of content. Maybe I'll get on here and I'll rant and talk through things a little bit more often. If you do like my content, make sure you remember to subscribe before you leave, because I post new videos every single week and I wouldn't want you guys to miss out on them. I hope you guys have a beautiful day or night whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye, guys.